Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to thedailyblue.com. Coming up right now on A Ship Called Relation, we're going to be talking about how to be less frazzled and more connected to your partner in your relationship. Plus, later in the show, we'll also have stress-relieving tips for you and your partner. And coming up in Sink or Swim, a lady would like to know if she should date this guy that everybody says is a player. We'll decide the fate of that relationship, whether it should sink or swim, happening right now on A Ship Called Relation. Hey everyone, I'm Jason Galka. Welcome back to A Ship Called Relation. Today we're talking about becoming less frazzled and more connected to your partner in your relationship. There is no doubt that life throws you curveballs every chance it gets, but the trick is to overcoming those hardships and staying connected with your partner. Before we begin, I'm with Desiree and Kelly today. We have a couple of little things in our newsfeed this morning. The first thing that the New York Post shared this morning, actually, which I found was interesting we could talk about, is that more sex for men it tends to alleviate prostate cancer, especially for straight men, which is an interesting little fun fact because we're always talking about, like, you know, try to keep it to a minimum or whatever. But here, for straight men especially, it's actually healthier for them.
Health benefits are good.
The health benefits are good. But for those of us that are, you know, catchers in the gay relationships, we actually double our chances of getting prostate. But I don't care, I'm not giving it up. But interesting fun fact, though, and it actually says the statistics show that sexually active men reduce their chances of getting prostate cancer by 28% and the most aggressive tumors by 19%. So, like, slutty's the new healthy for men.
Yes, if it works. If it's helping you, might as well.
Yeah, definitely. I tweeted that out, so if you want to check out the article, go on my Twitter at Jason Galka. We also have an anniversary today. She's such a great woman. She's my coach. She's my casting director. She's just fabulous. Barbara Barnes celebrates 20 years to her husband, Mr. Abel, today.
Aww,
congratulations to you both. Happy 20 years. And now moving right along, talking about less frazzled, more connected. Now, I've been doing audience polls on my social media, Facebook and Twitter, so definitely find me if you haven't already. And I asked women, what is the number one thing that causes you to be frazzled and less connected to your partner, and maybe you even tend to lash out at him? The number one answer was financial stress, and the number two answer was juggling work and home life. Guys, what do we think about this? Desiree, when you're in a relationship, what makes you more frazzled and less connected to your man?
I would have to say the juggling work and home life. You know, especially if you're a student and you're working or you're working a full-time job or a new job or anything like that, it gets really stressful. And I think you take your stress out on your significant other a lot more than anyone else because you feel most comfortable with them.
Because they're right there.
Exactly. So they're like your personal punching bag, and unfortunately that's not a very good thing, but I think stress from, like, working is just, it gets overwhelming, and you can't take it out on your boss or your coworkers, so you go home and you're like, all right, I need to, like, let my stress out, and you're here, so.
Yeah. Kelly, what about you?
Definitely financial stress. I think especially when you're around my age where you're starting to, like, need to save money so you can, you know, move out or start a family and all this, but you're also where you're still wanting to go out. And it's hard to find that balance of, like, saving and going out, and that can sometimes cause some problems. But
absolutely, I totally agree. I mean, what is your living situation, if you don't mind me asking?
I live with my boyfriend. He owns the place.
So you guys have a place together?
Yeah, well, he owns it.
Okay.
He bought it before we were together, but... So, I mean, we are in a good place with that, but still, like, it's...
Yeah, I mean, you're paying for it, and it's living expenses, it's wanting to go out, it's, you know, it's grocery shopping. I mean, everything adds up, and, you know, you really have to pinch those pennies. So, being that that is the number one answer in my little audience poll, here's some tips to help relieve some of that financial stress. You could set a weekly budget. Look at your bills. Where can you actually make cuts? Now, you know, if you're not using that DVR so much, or you're not using that Showtime package on cable, make a call and cut them out. You'll see the drastic savings in that alone. And all that adds up each week. And at the end of the month, you might be surprised what you have. There's also these great little phone apps. And anybody that has a smartphone, you can download all these little apps and they'll actually help you budget your money by the day.
Oh, that's
which
cool.
is so great. Yeah, so go onto your app store, just type in budget savings and like all these millions of things will come up. And some of them are free, which is great. So, hey, you can save money for free. Also, your grocery bills, you can Google a ton of things. This is why I love Google and I love the internet for these reasons, because you can Google like coupon savings, log on to those websites that send you coupons by email, and you can cut down your grocery bill almost in half. Yeah. Did you ever see that show, Extreme Couponing?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I want to know how people do it because I want to do that.
That's like a part-time job in itself.
That really is.
But if you do take the time, because groceries was one of the things where we would just go and you're grabbing everything, and we were spending so much on groceries. And it's funny because now, like, I find myself like taking out the circular and like seeing what's on sale and planning it out, and it's something like that just saves so much, and it's not even an extreme coupon thing. It's just planning around sales, and that even helps.
Let me tell you, you're gonna laugh at me, but I had to like learn how to go grocery shop because, you know, back when I first started living on my own, I mean, I had a very small place. It cost me almost next to nothing, you know, because it was off of somebody's house and it was just a very small space. But it's like I would go to the store and just pick things off the shelf, and then I had like a $300 grocery bill, but I didn't know any better.
Yeah. You probably didn't need half those things.
I probably didn't.
Exactly.
It was mostly like junk because I was, you know, younger and thinner and I could eat all that stuff. But it's like now I'm like clipping the coupons, I'm going through the circular, I'm watching what's on sale each week, and you'd be surprised.
Like,
Sales
are your best friend.
Sales are your best friend, not just in a department store, in the grocery store too, but it's like I went from spending like $300 a week now to like maybe $100. So I literally cut it almost in half, which is so great. I think that's one of the most expensive, aside from paying a mortgage or rent.
Definitely is.
Grocery shopping.
Especially when you start having kids and a family.
Yeah.
Like,
you could easily spend like $500, $600 a month.
absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. But I think going grocery shopping is a better alternative than always eating out too. So, you know, you're going to spend maybe a little bit more in one shot, but you'll get more time out of it. I know our tech producer, he stopped eating out all the time at lunch, and he said he has a lot more money at the end of the day.
Wow,
So
see that?
it's kind of
Good job, Mike.
setting an example for all of us in here.
That's great. So if any of you guys have money-saving tips out there, send me a tweet at Jason Galka. We'll retweet it and post it out there for all of our viewers to see. So I'm curious what other people do. And actually, that is a good one. Good job, Mike, to cut down on lunch, because I'm somebody that eats out a lot. But I find that I buy less at the grocery store because I'm not cooking at home. Because with our schedules, it's hard. I get it. So we're eating out more and things, but we're also cutting down on our grocery bill because we're not buying the meats because we're...
A good happy balance,
Yeah,
happy medium.
it's definitely
is the key.
balanced. But, you know, go through all of your expenses. And another good tip also is that we're right around tax season, which means that we're going to be getting those income tax refund checks in the next couple of months. We're almost at the end of the year. So take comfort in knowing that you will get those creditors off your back. So in the meantime, make the minimum payment if you have to. You're keeping your credit in good standing and your creditors off your back. And as soon as you have the chance to catch up, you will. Okay. But statistics do show, this was interesting, that women worry 10 times more than men do when it comes to finances. I'll agree to that because John called me the other day. He's like, let's book this cruise in May. I'm like, wait a second.
Hold on.
Yeah. We're talking about like a $3,000 vacation here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, he'll call and do things like that, but it's like, then I got to figure out where it's going to come from. So I totally agree that the woman in your relationship is the one that tends to worry more, where men tend to be more of the impulse buyers. So keep your man on a leash when it comes to the finances. Don't give him the checkbook. All right, so now our number 2 answer was juggling work, life, and home. Now, this is something I could totally relate to, too, because it's like I come home at the end of the day, and sometimes, you know, we both have stressful jobs, John and I, and he tends to, I think his might be a little bit more grueling than mine because his schedule is worse than mine. So it's like I can't expect too much of him, but at the end of the day, I would like for his dirty dishes to be cleaned up and washed and in the sink.
Yeah.
That's one of my pet peeves we talked about last week.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're sharing the relationship, and especially if you're sharing a home, then you should be sharing the responsibilities. So talk to your partner. Don't lash out. Talk to him, because communication is always key. And maybe, just maybe, you'll come home to a home-cooked dinner. I don't trust John with the laundry. And let me tell you why, because I value my whites. This was once a white shirt. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, he'll wash everything together as opposed to separating. But he's getting better with that stuff. So in his defense.
You're training him well.
I'm training him very well. They don't come out of a box, like I say. Hey, you got to train them. What are some of your tips that you guys might have for our viewers? Or things that have worked for you in the past?
I think it's just being understanding. Like, we don't really have that balance because we both pretty much do 9 to 5. But during tax season, he works overtime till sometimes 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And when he comes home, he'll just sit there on his phone. And I used to get so frustrated, like, oh, this is our time or whatever. But you have to remember, they've been working all day and they need to unwind. You've been unwinding for 4 hours already now. So it's just, I think, being understanding and...
Yeah.
It goes back to that me versus we time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes after work, you just need a little time to yourself before you can give it to someone else again.
Yeah.
You've been working all day, or especially like in businesses like customer service where you're constantly talking to people, you're constantly dealing with situations. Like sometimes silence when you get home is like the best thing ever.
A virtue.
I know, and it can definitely cause some, you're stressed at work and you come home and you take it out on the person. And they shouldn't do that, but you also do have to kind of let them take a step back and realize and not let it turn into like a huge fight. Cause
Absolutely. You know what I find sometimes, like after a stressful day, like just turning your favorite radio station or CD and just listening to that and keeping what happened at work and coming home to, it's a different scenario now. Now you're seeing the love of your life and you should be happy.
Yeah.
So I know, easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah,
Believe me, I get it.
I think sometimes like when I'm taking my drive home from work, I take the long way sometimes just to give myself a good 20, 30 minutes in the car listening to music just to unwind.
Driving is relaxing,
It really
surprisingly,
is.
if you're not in traffic.
Yeah.
But like take that time to just unwind, relax, and then maybe when you get home you won't be so tense. Like if you're rushing to get home, you're still in that go mode, you're still in that stress high, intensity mode. So
I think that happens to me, I'll be honest. I mean, sometimes when I get home, I think it's like, all right, well now I have to get home because I have this, and this to do. And that's what tends to like, I don't want to say, blow up, but certainly I've lashed out at times. But it's perfectly normal. And then we all come down and, we enjoy the night.
Still love you.
All right, so I did the same poll for our male viewers, and the number one answer that causes stress for a man is their job. Of course, because they don't worry about finances like we do. They're booking vacations at $3,000 a pop. But yeah, their job is number one, and number two, the pressure from their mates about their relationship. So really, same tips apply here for them. On your way home, listen to your favorite type of music, or stop by and have a drink with a male coworker, because I don't think she's going to appreciate you having a drink with a female coworker. But certainly just what you need to do to unwind before you actually get home. But I feel like with their number two, the pressure about their relationship, no doubt men tend to feel more pressure because we want the affection. We want what we want, and that's pretty much what it is. I mean, what advice do you have for our male viewers on that, based on a female perspective?
I think if you're really stressed about your significant other putting that pressure on you, then maybe you need to talk to them. Maybe you guys aren't on the same page. If that's like really one of your biggest stresses, then that means you guys just aren't seeing eye to eye. So just talk about it, and then maybe that pressure of either getting engaged or doing this or kids or whatever that the stresses are, maybe they won't be such a big deal if you guys are just open and honest with each other.
Yeah.
And then you can worry about the other things like finances and jobs, which you have no choice but to focus on.
Yeah, which kind of ties into that anyway. But
yeah. And that's kind of where where we said earlier, the budgeting comes in place, because if you take both, I mean, what we do is we take both of our checks, add up by the month. I think it's easier to figure finances out by the month. But like I said, if you get those little app things, those things are great. You can budget by the day and just kind of go through and you'll be surprised how much money you might actually have left over at the end of the month. And then you can start putting away for that vacation, or you could take a romantic dinner for two. We're actually going to talk right now about some romantic tips to staying more connected to your partner that actually won't cost you a thing. You can come home and have a romantic dinner for two right at your own table. Put out your best china, cloth napkins. I mean, these are things that I like to do. Decorate the table with candles and wine and just enjoy each other's company. After that, you can move on into your boudoir and give each other a nice romantic massage that takes away all the stresses of the day.
That'd be fun. That's a great night.
That is a great
A
night.
nice night in.
A nice night in, yeah, exactly.
And it's not costing you a dime. You
Yeah.
fall asleep in each other's arms and everybody's happy. We're getting the affection that we need. You're getting the stress relieving that we need. So it's a win-win
win-win,
situation. Yeah.
That's a great tip. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to add to that? What do you guys do to relieve stress with your significant other?
Just talk. Just
Yeah.
set a time where you're not
Visit with
watching
each
TV.
other.
Yeah, don't turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Turn, maybe like you said, like put, nice lighting on so it's your calm and just have a conversation. Just lay and relax and just like connect with each other again, Like you lose sight and like stop complaining about all the things and just talk about like how happy you guys are, like the things you're blessed to have and to
Right.
reap the benefits from.
I mean, even though we think, like John and I, we think that we're spending quality time like watching TV, but then it's like, if it's something that one of us is into watching and the other starts talking, it's like, shh, during
Yeah.
commercial.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not really spending that quality time together. Like, I like to talk, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would love that, to turn off the TV, put down the laptop, and just sit and visit with each other for the day
That's
and
a big
talk
thing.
about how your
Cell
day
phones
went.
too. We do that where we'll
Yeah.
put the phones away.
We're guilty of that too. We'll do it at the dinner table, like out to eat and things.
I know.
At least
it-
for a little while.
Even at home, but we'll always like call each other out and then like put them away, which
Yeah.
is I think good. But
Yeah.
even with our friends, when we hang out with all our friends, like we'll try to do that where you just put them away because
Yeah,
stupid when
this
you're
is where
sitting
like
there
that
looking at your
we
phone.
time comes in now. So you definitely have to make that we time. And if you need to see that episode, it's in our archives. So now, ladies, we are halfway through the show. It is time to grab your cards. We're going to decide fate of this week's relationship. Should it sink or should it swim? Here we go. We ready?
I'm ready.
This week's viewer writes in, Dear Jason, I need advice on getting involved with a guy I've known for years. A few friends I know have dated him in the past, and they all say he's a bit of a player. He would be dating them but talking to other girls. He says he was never that serious when dating either of them, so he had every right to talk to other people. He says he's never cheated on anyone, and I believe him. My two friends that have dated him tell me it's a bad idea to get involved with him. I'm only considering it because even though we met about 5 years ago, we reconnected at a Halloween party last week, and we pretty much spent a lot of the time at the party talking and laughing. I had a great time talking with him, and he asked me if I'd like to go out sometime. Just curious what you think I should do. Thanks so much, and that is signed, Carrie.
I don't think there's any reason she can't give it a shot if she thinks
Yeah.
they, had a connection and just go into it, knowing that that's how he could be and
Yeah, be open-minded about it.
yeah, and don't put so much into it. Like, I don't know.
I'm kind of on the opposite end of this one. I just want to know why two of your friends have dated this guy. Maybe that's a sign that you shouldn't really. He's in your circle already.
Right.
Maybe you should branch out. I'm not saying don't give it a try, but I don't know. I really wouldn't want to date a guy that I know two of my friends have already dated and have negative things to say about it because I feel like they're always going to have that negative mindset towards him. And if your friends are saying the negative things about your, person that you're trying to be with, it's not going to be a healthy start to a relationship.
Yeah.
So
True. I can
just-
appreciate that.
I would just be careful, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't
that's what I'm. Be careful. I mean, and she said she'd known this guy 5 years. I mean, who did he date these girls 3-4 years ago? Because
That's
Right.
true.
there's
How old is he?
it's
What
a
was
good
the
difference
of-
situation?
Couple of things to consider. I mean,
Consider,
a
yeah.
couple little notes myself. I mean, is talking to other people while dating someone crossing the line? Why are they considering this guy a player? Because he was talking to other girls?
Yeah.
If they were only together like a week or a month even, what do you consider serious?
Yeah.
And what crosses the line when
I
it
guess
comes?
it's circumstantial.
yeah, it's definitely a lot of different circumstances.
I think she just
but-
needs to put the pros and cons on a list and really see, like, is it worth getting involved in, or is it just easier to say,
Yeah.
there's a lot of negativity going on already. We haven't even
Yeah.
started yet, so let's
Well,
just.
it could be her friends are just jealous that now he's
Exactly.
interested in
Yeah,
her, and and they're
exactly.
trying to deter her away because they wanted him maybe, and he didn't want them. Yeah, that could be a very big possibility.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those gray area.
Yeah.
Do we have like a purple one?
Yeah, I'd say swim.
Do we have the life raft?
So it was just gonna say swim with a
I'd say yeah.
a life
I'd
jacket
swim.
on.
Desireen's
Swim,
gonna
but just
swim.
be really careful because the sink might just creep up.
Kelly, what do you think? You say
yeah,
swim.
yeah, I say
Okay.
swim. Just Be cautious.
I mean, here's what I think. I think I'm going to let that one swim too. So the swimmers have it. But here's my thing. I feel like it was in the past with the other girls, and maybe they weren't for him. And now, you know, she says they have a connection. They spent a lot of time talking and laughing. He asked her out. She seems like she's on the fence about it, which is okay. Definitely be careful, like Desiree said. But be open-minded, too, because maybe it could be the one for both of them. And if not, there's plenty more fish in the sea on that relationship.
Swim close to the shore, but
Yeah, swim close to the shore. But give it a shot. I say give it a shot.
Get your feet wet.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know what happens. So another little guest update we have before we close. If you guys remember Jimmy Vaughn, who was with our show about a month ago with Maureen Tower Nelson, our matchmaking friend, he's doing well. He's gone on several dates, and although the first 3 didn't work out so well, he did have a nice time with this woman named Cindy over the weekend. They went to a little cafe, enjoyed several hours of each other's company over tea and crumpets, I guess. But he had a very nice story report back, and he plans to see her again.
Oh,
That's a big
great.
step.
That is a big step.
Date.
Although, being that he and I are Facebook friends, I still see some of those 20-year-old pictures on his profile. So, I don't know about him. We'll find out when we bring him back in a few months if he's found true love or not. So, ladies, anything you'd like to add? We're at the closing mark.
I think we've covered, a lot today.
Yeah, we
Just
did.
keep your stress to yourself a little bit, or talk to your partner. Don't lose the connection over daily stresses that you have no control over.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Take
Good
a step
advice.
back. Yep.
Cool. Well, if you'd like more detailed advice on today's show, visit thedailyblue.com. Stay right here. You can see my blog. It's going live right now. And also, just a little FYI, coming up on November 12th, we're going to have the Flirting Queen here. She's also the author of the Flirting Bible. Her name is Fran Green, and she's been on several daytime talk shows over the years, and she's going to tell us everything we need to know about flirting and how flirting could actually be very successful in landing the one. Ooh, I'm excited.
I'm ready for this one.
On November 12th, so definitely check back. But join us again next week because we always have something to talk about here on A Ship Called Relation. I'm Jason Galka. See you next time. Yay.